Hello everyone and welcome back to Metal Gear Solid the board game. We're up to stage 4, which is named after our very first boss battle, Revolver Ocelot. We have found where he's holding, I've forgotten the guy's name again, but it's the ARMA Chief, and he is tied up to a pillar surrounded by tripwires that will set off explosives. So we can't rescue him. Revolver Ocelot shows up to have a gunfight with us. There is no sneaking. Boss fights operate a little differently to the sneaking missions we've seen so far, and I think chronologically right after this we actually go straight into a second boss fight against the tank, unless we split it up with VR missions, of course, to try and get some unlocks. And I might do that because once we defeat a boss in the story, I'll feel more comfortable fighting a VR version of them, which is an optional thing to unlock more equipment. I guess the only exception would be Liquid, because we can't really, like, if we fight him first, we're going to be finished with the campaign before I include him in any VR missions. So that might be the one exception, we shall see. So let's go over how a boss fight operates and specifics for this one as well after that. So the first thing to note is how the player board changes for a boss fight. You get a boss stage reference for Revolver Ocelot. It is the generic one that just says, hey, you can't do any of these special actions, and these are just a reminder for how it goes. You take a turn, the boss takes a turn. Beyond that, you're still allowed to use your focus tokens. You still bring equipment. I'm bringing his Soaking Pistol because otherwise we'd be in real trouble. Rations to heal ourselves, and that C4 we picked up. Because in the video game, one of the methods to beat Revolver Ocelot is to use the C4, if I remember rightly. On that note, while I'm just looking here, I did say in the video last time when I was editing it, I spotted, I think, the answer to one of the questions I had at the time that I could not find an answer to, and it's regarding the alert token, which isn't used here, but I did say discuss it in this video and it might take a little bit, so we're going to quickly go over that. You can skip ahead if you're not interested. But the issue came up last time where the alert tokens were on one floor, Snake and Merle were on the next floor. How does the game handle that? Well, in one corner on the bottom left of one of the rulebook pages, it says the active zone is a zone with a player character or an alert token. So what does that mean? That means I should have moved the guards on the floor they were no longer on. Why is there a point of doing that? Because when one of them lands on this, usually you draw a guard reaction card and something negative happens, like extra guards appear, or you run out of some time, like some cards get cycled. So that's the reason to do it. What it doesn't explain is what would happen if you then made noise on the new floor you're on. Rules as written, since the alert counter technically stays in play, would imply to me that the alert follows you. So say Snake does his make noise thing on a floor where the guards do not know he is there, or he dashes and accidentally, gets an exclamation mark, so he's made noise. You don't make the blue icon, it goes straight back to being red, which is very rough and not how it works in the video game. But for the rules for this game, that seems to be the case. That's the part I'm guessing, because it is not clear. The first part about an active zone, including any area you've left one of these in, that is 100% in the rules. I've forgotten the page number, but it is there. So let's specifically get back to what we're doing here. The Revolver Ocelot boss fight. He has one special card called Reload, and then he has 6 AI cards. However, that's a nice reference to him using 6 shares. But for the purposes of a boss fight, we are going to shuffle these and take 4. I wanted to do this on camera just to prove that I've shuffled them, so we will. And that forms his AI deck, whose order does not change. And the Reload card goes on the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not looking at the ones that got discarded. And that forms his AI deck right there. So we take a turn, in which if we damage him, he will do a reaction, which is on his card, which we'll talk about in a second. Then he goes. As far as specifics for the boss fight, we can't cross the yellow line surrounding the ARMA Chief, and if we shoot through them, we risk hurting him. Any exclamation mark means we've accidentally shot him. 3 hits and he's dead. Revolver Ocelot will also occasionally shoot at him, so it would be very dangerous for us to do it, just because if you get one bad roll you could be done. Because we're playing true solo, since in the video game Snake and Revolver Ocelot have a one-on-one, he's going to have 12 health. He has 3 rolls. Up here on his boss reference card, Elusive, which means he only moves on the diamond or chevron icons. He doesn't move traditionally like a model would. He always faces in the direction that the arrow is pointing as well. So if he was on this one, he'd be facing like that. If he was over here, like that. He's kind of hiding his back, because Snake has that role where he can do extra damage to your back. Ricochet shot, he does not lead line of sight to attack you because he bounces bullets, just like in the video game. And then that hurt, once Ocelot is dealt damage on a player's turn, oh, it's actually not in an action, it's the entire turn, so that's not as bad. You reveal the top card of his boss deck and do the reaction card. His reload card is missing the reaction symbol. It was errated. I think that's the only change from his cards. Then you return the card to the bottom of the deck unless otherwise instructed. He attacks with a single black die and has 4 defense. That is only used if there is no damage amount specified on his AI card. The AI cards might say you roll different dice. So that's just if there's no dice listed. I think that covers everything that we need to do in the setup over here. I don't want to show off the next page because it shows what happens to him just in case you aren't aware. So I think we're ready to take this on. There's no guard deck, no guards at all. It is a straight up brawl. So we'll be back with the start of the fight after this quick word from my channel sponsor. This video is sponsored by Noble Knight Games. Check out the video description below for an affiliate link that will take you through to their store, and it will help me out as well. Thanks. So, let's get started. We've got a lot of health to burn through, and we don't have nearly as much, so let's try our best. As Snake, it doesn't matter if we dash, there's no noise or anything like that. That said, I am going to sneak just to put myself in a specific position here. I'm then going to use one of our 2 C4, which takes up an action, to prime some C4 right there. I'm going to try and beat him like you do in the video game. We have 2 actions left. I am going to dash and sneak. So we're kind of hiding here with Revolver Ocelot up there. We didn't take a shot at him. I'm hoping he's going to move this way, but sooner or later he should cycle round to get down to here. So let's draw his first AI card, and keep in mind you keep it in the same order. So, don't you want to settle this? Attack all players in the marked red areas. I'm not in the marked red area. It doesn't have any specific dice, so it would just be 1. If we had hit him, we would do this reaction, which is he moves 4 away from you, and then if he was dealt 2+ damage, he would attack like that. So we got lucky there. I'll put that sideways to know it's a card that's been resolved, and then think about how I want to try and force him down here. Well, I don't want to shoot through the middle because otherwise we'll hit. I keep forgetting his name. What is his name? I never remember it other than he's the ARMA guy. Kenneth Baker, that's his name. We are going to dash for 2. Dash for 2. Ooh, I could dash for 2 and then take a shot. Let's do that. Dash for 2, so I've used 3 dash actions. I have 1 action left, and we're just going to shoot our Sock'em pistol at Revolver Ocelot, and we need a 4+. So I could use my +2 to make that a hit, and I am going to. So we're going to turn that into a 4, and that means we have hit him for 1 whole damage. I've even looked out the actual damage counters this time. So there's 1 damage to him, which means that we draw his card and do the reaction, because when he's dealt damage in a player turn, reveal the top card of the boss deck and resolve his reaction. Then return the card to the bottom of the deck unless otherwise instructed. So, that is a lot of stuff there. Move 5 away from the active player. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, that's very good for us. And again, he only moves from the chevrons. If you were ever on one of them, he skips it. Then what does he do? If you were dealt 2+ damage, attack all players who do not share a roar column with him. We did not deal 2+ damage, we dealt precisely 1. So, that's a very... Is that Kenneth Baker there? That's a very strange AoE. Thankfully we don't need to worry about that right now though, because the reaction just forced him into a dangerous position for himself. I've combined all the cards back into a single deck just because you do have to keep the same order. I'm going to get confused with reactions, so... because the reaction goes on the bottom of the deck, which should be under the card we've already drawn. So that's why there's now just a single deck. I'm just going to have to maintain that. And it's his turn. So, attack all players in the red areas. He is indeed attacking us, and he'll be attacking us with a single black die. And he did indeed hit us, unless I use my -2, which I'm going to make that a 2, which means he has missed us. So I'm putting this on the bottom of the deck. That means we basically know there is 1 more AI card before his reload. We want the reload to be a reaction, ideally, because otherwise he shoots... what's his name? Kenneth Baker. So we want him to do an AI card first. that means I can't damage him this turn. So in that case, what we can do is dash for 2, and I'm going to refresh twice. So we're getting back our +2 and our -2. If I haven't shot Revolver Ocelot, he shouldn't move, which means I can do the C4 next turn, and we can just resolve this card now. No reaction. If there is a chevron within 2 moves of Ocelot that shares a row or column with the player, move him to the closest one and attack them. He's already in one that shares a row or column with me, so does that mean he stays and attacks from there? I'm going to presume he gets to attack, but I'm not 100% sure on that one because he isn't actually moving to make it happen, but hey. And he misses. Good, okay. So that goes on the bottom of the deck. Reload card, that's the one you want to force to be a reaction, I believe, because otherwise, again, he does damage, but puts us on a timer. So first thing we're going to do is use an action to detonate. For each C4 on the stage, deal 2 damage to each figure within 1 space and line of sight, and then it worries about if there's guards, you put down the alert token for a boss fight, that's irrelevant. So we are doing 2 damage to Ocelot and explodinating that. My second action is to place my other C4 right here and plan ahead to do it again. We have 2 actions left. I'm going to 1, 2 and 1, 2. It's fine, we're here, we just can't cross this yellow dotted line here. So his reload card, because we dealt damage to him, is a reaction. So this doesn't have the reaction symbol on it, it's a misprint, it should, and there is an FAQ, you can download a version of this that does have it if you want to print out your own. So move 1 away from the active player, return this card to the top of the deck. Oh, to the top of the deck? Return this card to the top of the deck. I wonder if that's, because it should go on the bottom, surely, because otherwise you can't avoid kind of getting attacked. Well, either way, he is moving 1 away from the active player, so 1 away would be to here. I'm going to go double check the FAQ version of the card, because that would imply, it doesn't say put on the bottom of the deck, it says put on the top, meaning there's no way to avoid him doing 1 damage to Kenneth Baker. Which doesn't sound right, so I'm going to double check that. Alright, having double checked the FAQ'd version of this card, it is simply that the reaction is there, so you do the text as written, so it does go on top, so that actually makes this an exceptionally tight time limit. Especially if you're playing with 2 characters. At most you can play this with 2 characters, Snake and Merrill, where he has 20 health. So this goes back on the top of the deck, which means we resolve the top part of it now, which is move black dice away from the nearest player and place 1 damage on Kenneth Baker, meaning 2 more and he's dead. So how many are you moving away from me, Ocelot? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, unfortunately for you... Oh, actually... Haha. How lucky are you feeling, Kenneth? Because I could shoot, I was going to say Snake, I could shoot Ocelot in the back, but it means shooting through the line, so if I roll a 1, I would accidentally be, like, oh no, so this, now this goes on the bottom of the deck, so I have the 4 more cards before it happens again. Now that I know I'm on a pretty harsh time limit, I feel like I need to be a little risky. We've got that C4 that might pay off once I chase Ocelot a bit more. So let's fire the SOCOM. I have my reroll, so I'd have to roll 2 1s in a row. And when has that ever happened? Almost. It is a miss though. It's not. It doesn't hurt him because you have to roll the exclamation mark. I'm going to +2 it to make sure I hit Ocelot, and that also means that Snake's sneak attack kicks in because we're shooting someone in the back. So we deal +1 damage. So that's 2 more damage to Ocelot, taking him up to 5. So he's got 7 left, and now I still have the reroll to fall back on. I'm going to use a second action to immediately replenish that +2. We have 2 actions left. I'm going to shoot again. I'm going to use the +2 again. Now, is the sneak attack only once per round? Yeah, so it's just 1 damage this time, but that's okay. That's 1 damage is 1 damage. That's him at half health. I have 1 action left. I'm going to replenish the +2 again. And that is my turn. So, Revolver Ocelot, he did take more than 2 damage because in total he took 3, so this is a reaction first of all. Move 4 away from the active player, so 4 away from me would be this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So he's down here. If Ocelot was dealt 2+ damage, attack all players in the red marked areas. He is attacking me, because we did indeed. Oh, I'm getting lucky with that. That is very, very lucky. Okay, so that reaction is resolved. And then his AI card. Attack all players that do not share a row or column with Ocelot, then move 1 away from the nearest player. Well, you do not share a row or a column with me, so you are attacking me. You got a 4, I'm going to use the -2 to make that a miss. You will not hit me. I can't afford to, I've only got 4 health. And then move 1 away. So he's going to move down here. And that goes on the bottom of the deck. And we have only 2 more cards before the reload comes back out. We do not have a lot of time here. So before carrying on there, I went to go find a video of someone else doing this fight just to see how they resolved it. They didn't know about the FAQ at the time of recording, but did it editing. But they were playing it that Revolver does a reaction after every time you hurt him during your turn, but I can't see that as being the case because it would cycle the reload to the top of the deck too quickly, and it stays on top of the deck, meaning Kenneth would die really, really quickly. Whether you shoot him a lot in your turn or once per turn, if he reacts every time you do, it's down to this being poorly worded. Because when Ocelot is dealt damage on a player's turn, you could absolutely take that as meaning every instance of damage. Or, when your turn is resolved, did Ocelot take damage on your turn? Yes? Okay, now do a reaction. It is not clear, and unfortunately the boss specifics in the campaign book also do not make it clear how his reactions work. I think he's the only character that might have that kind of mechanic, I'm not sure, because we haven't done anything else. But it only talks about bosses' actions as opposed to reaction. So I'm playing it the way I'm playing it because I can't see any way to win if Ocelot gets to react every single time I hurt him, because it would cycle his reload card to the top far too quickly. I still think we're going to be pretty tight on time because of it cycling to the top just as it is, because Kenneth's going to get shot again soon, and then we have 4 cards, so 4 turns, or 2 turns, assuming we do damage on 2 of them, to kill him, or we lose. That's really tight time. So, anyway, Snake's turn. We're going to dash for 2, and then we're going to have to take some pot shots. No risk of hitting Kenneth though, so action 3 is to fire. We get a 6, sadly he can't modify that, but that's 1 more damage. And then we have 1 action left, so I'm going to shoot again. And we do 1 more damage, that'll do nicely. So that's up to 5, 6, 7, 8. He has 4 left. If he gets up to that C4, easy time. Anyway, on my turn, I damaged him, so we'll reaction. Move 3 spaces away from the active player. 1, 2, 3. Again, only counting the chevrons. If Ocelot was dealt 2+ damage, he was. Attack all players in the red mark space. He is attacking us. And he does hit us, and I can't do anything about that, so that's our first bit of damage. Fair enough. We have 3 health left. If we get hit again, I'll use a ration. That goes on the bottom of the deck, and then he gets his actual turn. And then his reload card is on top. So, if there is a chevron within 2 moves of Ocelot that shares a row or column with the player, move to it and attack. Nope. No, there is not. So we got lucky there in that regard, but Kenneth's about to have a bad day. I want to chase Ocelot around this way to force him to the C4. So, dash, dash. I need to be in dash. And unfortunately I can't see him because you can't shoot diagonally. For my last action, since I know I can't shoot him anyway, I'm going to replenish the -2. So we didn't even get to shoot him there, which is really unfortunate. That means there's no reaction, but had it been a reaction, it just would have been move 1 away and then put this back on top of the deck. Which is again why, since you can't get rid of this card, that makes me believe that the reaction is at the end of your turn, did you deal damage, rather than did you deal damage? React. Did you deal damage? React. So anyway, move black away from the player. 3, 1, 2, 3. And deal 1 damage to Kenneth Baker. He has 1 health left. And it isn't 3 per player, I presume. No, it's just 3. And then this goes on the bottom of the deck. So if this card comes around again, we lose, because Kenneth Baker will die. Which means we need to hurt Ocelot a lot. I just need to chase him a little bit more. and we can get him. So let's dash for 2, dash for 2, dash for 2, and shoot him in the face. Or, no, I only have one action left. I was going to say, could I do a combo attack? Because if you do physical... Actually, I could still do that. No, I dashed, and I dashed 3 times. If one of those was a sneak, I actually could have done a combo attack. If you do knockout damage to a boss, it's just treated as damage. So I could have been rolling 2 white dice and a black die, and that could have finished it. Well, we'll shoot him anyway. I rolled a 3, that's not good enough. We'll make it a +2. And do 1 more damage to him. He's up to 9. And now I'm hoping... 1, he gets a reaction, because we shot him, so there's 1 card cycled. Move 4 away from the active player. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's missed the C4. That's really bad news for us. If Ocelot was dealt 2+ damage, nope, he was dealt 1. And then it's boss card. Attack all players that do not share a row or column with you, then move 1 away. Oh, unfortunately... Oh, wrong die for him, he rolls black dice. Well, he keeps missing us, but unfortunately for us, if I hit him in the next turn, he would react, then he'll draw an AI card, and then we're right back to the reload card, and he's not going to land on the C4, so I really need to think, how do I get him now? Well, I had a little think, and there is a way, but it comes down to what is classed as away from the player if I am in front of the enemy. That's what matters. If I put Snake here, which I absolutely can, and I think I can deal 1 damage, which will take him to 10, what then, if I draw a card for Ocelot that says move X away from the player, what direction do I send him in? He would have to pass over Snake, but his rules say he's allowed to go this way, or this way. Do I get to choose because both are equally far away? Because if I do get to choose, I would absolutely make him go this way because I can see for him. But I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, and I can't find anything that says one way or t'other, unfortunately. That said, the turn is going thus. We're going to dash, 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 point it right in Ocelot's stupid face, and pull the trigger. We only got a 2, so I'm going to have to use my reroll to try and hurt him. And we did manage to get the... That's 5, so that's 10 in total there. So he does have 2 left. But he gets to react, and it's moved 3 away from the active player, and he was only dealt 1 damage, so the rest of it isn't relevant. But see, this is the problem, because I want him to move up here, because I'll blow him up. But which dictates, like, do I move him this way? Because each direction, well, actually maybe they're not equally away from Snake. If I move him here, he's 1, 2, 3, 4. If I move him here, he's 1, 2, 3. Oh no, it would be 4, 5, wouldn't it? Because he moves to 1, 2, 3. He would be more away from me there. So is that how you do it? I don't know. We're going to lose if he goes this way, I think. Because if he goes this way, I'm going to make that card come up, and we can't stop him killing Kenneth because we need to do... Well, we need to do 2 damage. It's possible. But, well, for the record, if I force him this way, my turn starts, I trigger the C4. 2 damages up to 12, boom, we win. In the keeping of these games generally have rules where it's like you do the thing that's worst for the player. I will make him go 1, 2, 3, and we'll see if we can kill him legitly with the Sock'em. If we can't, I'm going to take my win because this seems a bit rough. But also, actually, we still have another card to resolve, so would he have moved? If there is a Chevron within 2 of Ocelot that shares a row or column with you, move him to it and attack. Oh! Well, that would mean if I did put him up there, he would move there. So that would still happen as long as he doesn't kill me here. But since I moved him down here, he's actually facing me down and shooting at me. And he is hit... No, it's... yes, it is. Defense 3. We'll take that damage. And his reload card is the next one to draw, which means if I don't beat him here, we lose. As I said, if I forced him that way, he would have been there. That card to attack us would have moved him there. He's still within 2 of the C4. Boom, he's dead. Such as it is, in 4 attacks... Well, actually, no, he's right next to me. Let's do the combo attack thing I said. So for 2 of Snake's actions, we can combo attack, punch him, which is 2 white and 1 black die, and we can just see what we get. And we got a pretty horrific roll, is what we got. But we're still next to Ocelot, so I can try again and do all 4 actions in one roll there. Okay, I just accidentally spread every token everywhere, but thankfully we actually got 2 hits there, which is a total of 12 damage. So by the absolute skin of our teeth, if we play it this way, which again I presume is what the game would want, because it, you know, but I couldn't. If you can find a ruling for specifically the situation we were in, like in this situation, what does away from the player mean? I took it as meaning like number of squares, but I can't find anything that says that, so you can let me know. But even if that did count, we did barely win. If he'd went up here by the C4, we would have won easier, but that was still a little rough. Poor Kenneth has some gunshot wounds. So apologies in advance if Ocelot's reactions were done wrongly, but if they were done wrongly, how on earth are you supposed to win if you cycle his deck that fast and he kills Kenneth Baker in 3 uses of his reload card? I don't know, I feel like I played that correctly. It is different how I've seen it played on the one video I found, but they missed the put this card back on top of the deck and kept putting it on the bottom, so they were cycling it, which is not what it says to do, so I presume that was done wrongly. Anyway, when the stage is cleared, we gain equipment card 6 and go to page 35. I have not looked at this in advance. It is more rations. Are we allowed to take multiple rations? Does this have a different codec number on it actually? It does not. So I presume if we wanted to, we could fill 2 of our 3 inventory slots with 2 heals, which for certain missions like boss fights might actually be a good idea. Because you can only bring 3 things. We still have the C4 in general, which is pretty good. Anyway, Revolver Ocelot still wants to fight, and then his hand gets chopped off, which has larger ramifications for the series than you would think. And that is when Grey Fox appears and saves Kenneth, even though he says he has no name, and then he goes a little bit crazy, bounces around and flees. There's a lot of exposition talking to Kenneth, and then Kenneth mysteriously dies of a heart attack like the DARPA chief did. If you want more details, see the game. But not before giving Snake his keycard. Is there any other information on this page? Because this is where... Oh, right. This is what I get for watching a video as well. It goes on to the boss fight after this page, so I'm not going to show you that one. In the video game, you are told to team up with Merle, because technically she runs off from you in the video game and you haven't seen her since then until after this fight. Colonel Campbell tells you to think outside the box, and this is where kind of like the ARG stuff in the original video game that made it so popular comes into play. The back of the video game box has screenshots from the video game, and one of them is Merle's codec code. So the back of the box tells you how to communicate with her. I think if you're stuck for so long, they eventually just tell you it. Unfortunately, from watching the video I was watching to see how Ocelot works, I did have it spoiled for me that there is an unlock on the back of this box. And I'll turn it over for you on camera, but I'm going to need to put the lid back on. So there is actually a hidden unlock if you do what you did in the original video game, which is really fun. And I imagine, I have not checked further ahead, there's similar things based on some of the other stuff you do in the video game. So here we have the back of the box. I don't know if you can see, but down there, above the, or sorry, below the ISBN number, which is a little unlock equipment card 31. So you just unlock gear for doing what you did in the original to find Merle. I haven't looked in advance, I have the equipment card deck here to find out 31. Oh, that's just one away from the top of the deck. So we are unlocking the PAL keycard. This keycard can overwrite Metal Gear Rex's detonation codes. You may reroll 1 die each time you roll dice as part of an interact action against a door. And it also has a codec code for us to go to. 0706. You know what? I'm going to do that on camera just in case it's relevant. So let's find the codec stuff. That's VR missions. Codec stuff. 0706, was it? 0706. Good job, Snake. You got one of the PAL cards that can be used to override the nuclear strike. Now I need to find the other ones. Looks like you can equip the PAL key to help you open locked doors. It allows you to reroll 1 die each time you spend an action on a locked door. That might come in handy. Alright, no additional stuff there, but hey, that is pretty neat and something we're going to have to watch out for going forwards. But that is where we're going to conclude this time. I don't know if we're going to move on with the campaign next time or do a VR mission, because the next mission is just another boss fight. so I'll think about it. I kind of want to do a VR mission, see how they are, and maybe take on VR Ocelot to try and get some unlocks, but we'll see. Either way, I sincerely hope you've been enjoying, because I've been loving this. It's a bit complicated, stuff is going to go wrong just because of how complex the rules are, but it's really, really fun and very accurately represents playing the original game, which is awesome for those of us who loved it. Please do continue to show your support, I do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed. This series is available early to channel members as a thank you from me for the extra support you're willing and able to show. You can also press the thanks button or check out the channel sponsor, but liking, commenting, that all helps the algorithm. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ta for now.